Well, any time of year is a good time for a story, but Halloween is the perfect time, especially for a ghost story. Joining me now is co-founder of Storytelling Arts of Indiana, Bob Sander. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. It's great to see you. So, annual thing normally takes place in a fantastic setting at Crown Hill Cemetery. Can't do that this year. How's it going to change?
Well, it's going to change in some ways, and in other ways, it'll stay the same, which is the news is we're going to move to the Tibbs Drive-In, where you can come in with a carload of folks, a whole carload of folks for $50, and take in 4 great Indiana storytellers, and also 2 succeeding movies after that first hour of storytelling is over. So going to the Tibbs Drive-In, hearing all this in cars, listening on on really a good car FM radio station, all that's new, but great storytelling from Indiana storytellers, and bringing your own chairs and candles and snacks and that kind of thing, cozying up with friends. All that's pretty much the same as our old Crown Hill location was.
Does a good storyteller need to adapt the story to the location, or is a good storyteller that's not necessary?
Well, a good storyteller will use something about the location if it's possible, but really what we want is a good story. Mm-hmm. And that kind of remains the same regardless of the location. You know, we want crisp characters, well-drawn settings, and some event that's going to come along and just bowl us over.
Now, the whole family is welcome. Are these stories going to be on the brink of being too scary for some kids, or is it going to be everybody welcome?
Yeah, everybody's welcome, and we live in the age of this pandemic, and I mean, I'm asking you, what is more scary than that?
Yeah, excellent
and
point.
Also, you can tune into, if you're not watching your kids carefully, they're going to pull something up on the screen at home, yeah. Which is far scarier probably than anything we're going to tell.
So a manufactured scary story is actually a bit of a reprieve from the real scares that we're getting on a daily basis.
That's a good way to put it.
So talk to me. I think storytelling is like people think that everybody thinks they have a sense of humor. Everybody thinks they have good fashion sense. Everybody thinks they have a sense of rhythm. But what are the elements to telling a good story? And if you have an example of one that's not too scary, by all means, share it.
Yeah, well, a really scary story is if I don't say everything my executive director told me to. And so I have to mention that these tickets are only available in advance, and you can get them online.
Got it.
And you can maybe say a word more about that. But in regard to your question, I think it's, as I was saying a minute ago, a good ghost story, a good spooky story, it still requires everything a good story of any sort needs. Mm-hmm. You want characters that you can really grab a hold of in a place that you can see and smell and hear and really feel what it's all about. And you want something that happens that's arresting and you'll never forget. And in a spooky story, that's probably going to involve the supernatural at some point or other. And as for a little story to tell you, can I still do that?
Please do, yes.
Mary Culhane, with her wild waving hair and green flashing eyes, stood right next to the grave, the open grave in the graveyard. She was the only one of her father's 7 daughters that would go back to where he took the shortcut home to spend more time with them, but he forgot, and he left his blackthorn walking stick next to that open grave in a part of the cemetery where no one was ever buried anymore. The words were written in a script no one could even read. And as she bent down to pick up that walking stick, which gleamed like slick black coal there in the moonlight, she reached forward and she heard a voice say, "Mary Culhane." And she knew where it came from. It was one of those boys hiding behind a hill. They always were trying to scare her. "This is not funny," she said. "My father, when he finds out, you'll be in trouble, you know." And she heard it again, and it said, "Mary Culhane." And this time it didn't sound like the boys, but she said, "You're going to be in trouble." And then she heard it the 3rd time, "Mary Culhane, help me out of this grave." And if you want to find out who it was that wanted her help out of that grave, why, if you come to the Tibbs Drive-In this Friday night, That's the story I'll be telling.
Oh my gosh. Tickets $20 for an individual, $50 for a vehicle. Stay, you get the Addams Family and The Ring also, right? Plus 3 other storytellers?
That's exactly right. So myself, Celestine Bloomfield, David Matlack, Sally Perkins, and I might mention you will also see Poetry in Motion. Joyce Ellinger signing for the hearing impaired.
Oh.
If you've never seen that before, it's just a sight to behold. It's just a beautiful thing to see. She's wonderful.
Tickets have to be gotten in advance. Storytellingarts.org. Sir, always a pleasure to speak with you.
Great to talk to you again, too. I hope to see you all out there comfortably ensconced on your tailgates.
We'll put the links on IndyStyle.tv. I never get chills in this studio. It's always too warm, but man, I got them. We'll be right back.